Come on. Get in here.
Yo.
All right, and we are back for Season 2. And actually, this is the 20th episode of the podcast. I can't believe we do have a 20th episode.
You say it every time. We're like, wow, I can't believe we're at 18. Wow, I can't believe we're at 19. 20's a big one, though. 20's
a milestone, I feel like. 20 is pretty solid.
If 10 was, 20 is.
20 meets is a milestone.
Is 20 podcast episodes just
Yeah. I mean, not as important. That was a good crack.
That was a good crack.
And all the things that have torn me apart, nothing has made me more whole, covering the good, the bad, and the shit that keeps us going. Straight from the head ref's table, I'm your host, Travis Papa Bear Rogers, and you are listening to A Forest for the Trees, a cave podcast, here with the best deadlifter I know, Coach Carl LeMaster. Coach C, what's your best deadlift?
Thanks, dude.
Just get this right out of the way.
Thanks, dude. Let's break the ice. Okay, we're talking about deadlifts. My best deadlifts in equip meets have been 600 in single ply, and I pulled a large 590 in multi.
Oh.
Yes.
Big spender.
Carries my total.
I'm sorry, man. I had to do that to you.
So just so you guys know, I'm qualified to talk about this.
Yeah. But also, though, we always say, especially in gear, right? It's, the squat and the bench are your bread and butter. And then by the time you get to the meat and equipment, you're tired as fuck. You just pull what you need to.
Yeah, I just stick to the true equip fashion of having a deadlift that lags behind the rest of them.
Yeah, you're very close to out benching your deadlift, right?
I'm right there on
Yeah. So in true multi-gear fashion, this is your boy.
Staying true to the roots. That's all.
Yeah. I respect. As I'm getting older, I feel like I'm slowly getting there, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Well, your deadlift has stayed the same. That's not a jab. It's a strong deadlift, but your bench just keeps getting stronger, so you're going to match it
So
eventually.
when I say I just take what I need at the end of the meet, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty fucking good. So I guess that's a bonus. It's a good thing. So my best pull in comp is 738.5 raw at 198. I did that at PA State Championship. And then the one before that was 733 at Ohio Nats. So those are, and that was both at 198. So those were both right there. But I've been in that mid 730 range for almost 5 years now. So I've pulled multiple times in the gym without straps or anything. 750, 760. Been more than capable of pulling those. But at the end of the meet, man, it's just not there. And I always feel like, for me especially, when my CNS cooks, the first thing to go for me is grip. And I don't have grip issues at all.
There's pause.
But when I'm cooked, that's the first thing that goes for me.
Yeah.
So when you see me shooting finger guns and twinkling in my deadlift videos, sometimes it's just to check if them motherfuckers are still awake.
I still hold that over some of you guys. Like, yeah, I've never dropped a deadlift. And you guys always say, well, you're just not pulling heavy enough to drop them yet.
What are you going to drop, man? So my best in gear is 733. And I usually pull in single ply at the end of the meet, just because I'm a conventional puller. You don't get that much out of the suit versus being sumo, where you can actually spread to mimic kind of like a wider stance squat, where you're getting that material to bind up and really get that tightness and pop out of that suit, which Carl will talk about later, because I don't get that. I might as well. There's been plenty of times where I've missed the deadlift in a suit, stripped the suit off, and came back 10 minutes later and actually got the lift raw.
Yeah.
So, I mean, suit's definitely not the best carryover. While you're deadlifting, and you do see a lot of lifters go, multi, and then even at the end, they'll either do what I do and pull in single ply raw, or they'll just pull straight up raw, right? Like,
you say single ply raw?
Single ply raw. Single ply is raw.
Single ply is raw.
If you don't wear a t-shirt under the suit, it's raw.
Just a singlet, bro.
Yeah, it's a really uncomfortable, shitty singlet. So let's talk about first, obviously, types of bars you deadlift on, because this is going to vary from comp to comp. So we're most used to Texas and Okies.
We pull in Texas here, and at any RPS meets that we go to around.
USPA, PLU, some RPS meets. Most of those are always Texas.
Yes.
Most always Texas. A few RPS meets we've done with the Okie, which I really enjoy.
Resembles the Texas a lot.
Really, yeah. A little, I'd say a little stiffer. Like a little bit stiffer.
Nothing I'm pulling is gonna matter about that. Like, I can't tell.
We can talk about that later. I'm not trying to take more jabs at you than an opening shot.
I'm open to it.
And then of course, like, I haven't been to a meet where we've used Ohio deadlift, like a rogue.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
We have them here at the gym, but they're pretty damn close to a Texas.
Yeah.
Like I know I've purchased a few on the Blemish Bar sales and stuff. Party Bar is
Bar.
one.
Yep.
But like
Been around
most of the
forever.
time you really can't tell the difference. And then of course the now
Obsolete.
obsolete, Kabuki Bar. So we'd go from slackiest to least slackiest would be slack referring to the bend in the bar as you create tension and pull against it. Kabuki, Ohio, Texas. I'd say the Oki is a little bit stiffer than the Texas. I always enjoyed it because the knurling's a little more aggressive too.
Yeah, she's sharp.
And then of course you get into your stiff and power bars.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to bring that up, the power bar deadlifts and the feds that you
Yeah. And most of those, depending on the fed, will be like Alico. I mean, you do get your crossover feds that do tested and untested will offer, the Texas Power Bar for all three lifts. Or, if you get more into the IPF, USPA, all that territory, which is going to be strictly like Alico or some of their, I think they've used some other brands too now. Aren't some of them switching to Hansu now? I think Hansu's been approved for some of it.
Yeah, I know Alico is like the main one though. Like that's what I always see.
Yeah, but honestly, when you run blocks and you're competing in feds with actual deadlift bars, I do find it beneficial to run blocks with a stiff bar, even though you compete on a deadlift bar.
Yeah,
right.
We can't skip and not talk about like the axle bar too. If you're going to talk about putting bars into your training, about having like a stiffer bar,
that is true.
I think that's a huge part of it.
And depending on how you use the axle bar, more as like grip training where you're not strapping up for it.
Yeah, I know this is a big thing that John Hack has wrote on. Like he always talks about.
Well, that's because he actually does strongman too. So like he's done.
Well, he only figured this out when he started competing in strongman. I remember watching some interview with him. He was talking about how when he started competing in strongman and he threw more axle bar in there, his powerlifting like deadlift shot up afterwards.
Right.
And that he attributed that to a lot of axle bar training, and that's using straps though. It's not just barehanded.
Right. Definitely wouldn't encourage, and I say this a lot, especially to my athletes too. You and me usually don't talk about this because neither one of us do it. I really don't encourage the use of straps, usually ever.
Yeah.
I think the only time I'll strap up is unless I have like a really gnarly hand tear, like really bad. But I know a lot of hook grip lifters will do like their main working sets, hook, and then when they move to their back downs, when it's a lot of reps, they'll switch to straps to kind of save.
I can see why
thumbs.
it's feasible.
Me and Rob have talked a lot about that too.
Yeah,
and I've talked to other lifters about it.
Yeah.
But I think a big thing with that too is like you see so many guys maxing out reps in straps, and then like they'll get to a comp and they'll hold like 100 pounds under that.
Right. Yeah.
And it'll just create like a huge deficient in their grip training.
You get some like 22-year-old that's pulling 1,000 plus for Instagram, and then you look at his open, he's got like an 800-pound deadlift. It's just still a pretty strong deadlift.
Well, yeah, it's insane deadlift, but like obviously those two are night and day. Yeah, like I mean, it's way different. But I really like this part because you and me always talk about responsibility during meets.
Yeah.
And is that the train?
We got to train.
Oh, that's probably going to sound cool in the podcast. Or it won't sound cool in the podcast. I don't think we've had the train come through while we've been on. Responsible deadlifts. Where to draw the line at that end of the meet versus energy expenditure before that end of the meet, right?
Okay.
So we talked about a lot by you, I think last week even, when we talked about picking in a squat, where your shitty squats and your shitty picks dictate the rest of your meet, right?
Right, exactly.
Sucking the energy out of you. Which same can be said by, not being responsible when it comes to choosing a deadlift. Now, for me, I always open with a deadlift like way less than I'm capable of for an opener.
You pretty much take your last warm-up on the platform.
Yeah, I do. And I really strictly like follow that just because like you got to think, especially as a geared lifter, like most meets still aren't proficient, especially if you're in a gear because like most geared meets aren't running sessions. They're running old school where it's 3 to 4 flights. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're waiting longer. So your day is extremely long. So if you're doing, a 6-8 hour meet, man, that's a long ass day. So between, banging a PR and a squat and then the finagling into a bench shirt and still trying to bench really heavy, you're pretty smoked.
After that bench shirt comes off, I'm ready to deadlift.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just ready to get it over with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's the mindset too. You're ready to deadlift, but it's because you're not like, ooh, I'm ready for a deadlift. It's because, we're almost done.
Can I get this meet done?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
I get my
So,
total and walk out of here?
Again, pull what you need to secure that total.
Right.
And I think being responsible with that opener really, really helps because I think most of the time you see more frequently in geared meets, you see them bomb on squat and deadlift. Or, I'm sorry, bomb on squat and bench.
Squat and bench,
Yeah.
No one usually bombs on deadlifts.
Yeah, like if you made it that far, you usually are responsible enough to get a deadlift.
Right, or you would hope so.
Yeah.
No, that's normally the case.
Now, my meet, I bombed out in Las Vegas Nats.
18?
17.
17, really?
17? I thought I won 18. I thought I bombed 17.
would
I don't know.
know.
Fact check it. Fact check me later. But the one I bombed out on deadlifts.
Mm-hmm.
My hand tore. My opener was too heavy to hold with a hand tear, and I just couldn't get it up. I actually had to walk to the head judge's table, and who was the ref at the time? Susan Salazar.
Yeah.
And I had to straight up be like, hey, and I showed her my hand. She's like, honey, you should like chill.
Right.
And I was like so sad because like I loved watching her as a lifter, and I was like, that's my ref. I have to tell.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm DQ'd. Like it really sucked. People are coming and getting Jester like, dude, your husband's like bleeding out over a trash can.
Oh man.
Yeah, it looked like a fucking bullet wound.
Was
dude.
that like over the palm too? Like
Yeah, dude,
down?
it had peeled so far back. Like it was a really nasty tear. But that was the meet I had already had like my VMO tear too. So I was all kinds of fucked up that meet. Not a good meet for me. But making sure that deadlift is in line with what your goal is to create a successful day, right? And by you getting hype on you've done so good previously in the day and to shoot that deadlift up for an opener and go open even higher than what you anticipated because you're energized and feel good, like totally not a great idea. Like I think most of the meets we've done in the last like maybe 2 to 3 years, I've dropped my opener every time I go up.
Yeah.
Not dropped it like physically, but I went to the head rest table and been like, hey, I want to drop this, 5 kilos.
This last meet, I dropped my opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Responsibly.
Yeah, responsibly.
Yeah, responsibly. Yeah. But let's get into the meat and potatoes and actually like talk about what makes a deadlift a good deadlift. So, Carl, I guess you're okay at this. I got to witness Carl talk to one of my long-term friends and clients, Lamar Holmes, who joined us at the Bear Cave last night for some deadlifts, while me and Carl kind of watched over him, gave him some pointers, and kind of molded his deadlift with chains a little bit more. But as someone who's now only a conventional puller, Carl being able to switch back and forth, and I would say pretty successful sumo puller because you're about even, right?
I am very even.
Yeah, so
I was thinking about this last week a little bit. So I feel like my sumo pull is like a stronger position for me right now, but it's not something I can train consistently and stay healthy with.
Given the squat.
Right.
Because your sumo stance and your squat stance mimic each other too much, so you're getting overworked.
Exactly. So if I can just train my conventional stronger, I'll be okay.
Yeah. But so let's talk about slack.
Yeah. The slack pull. So
well, let's start with like what is slack.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we do
definitely.
have some new listeners.
The slack pull is getting tension out of the bar off of like before you even pull it off of the floor. So you're taking tension out of the bar. Depending on the weights on there, it might have that bend to it, but you're getting yourself primed in a better position mechanically to complete the deadlift.
So we would probably argue that like at a lighter weight, you're going to see the bar float.
Yeah, you get that float.
You get that little upsy-do off the floor versus at a much heavier weight where the weight's too heavy to do that, you'll see the bar more bend out more. Right. And that's what we're trying to achieve before initiating and pressing away from the floor.
Yeah.
So when we do talk about slack, there's a couple different errors that I mainly see as a coach, and that's a couple different things due to arm height and allowing the slack back out, right? So we want to think about the slack as like a rubber band, right? So when you go down, you set your grip and you're keeping your arms long as possible some people will hike their hips down in order to wedge, but what that's doing is it's dropping your arm height or creating a bend or not elongating the arms, so that bend you try to achieve with the slack drops back out, and you end up with what we call as a double slack pull.
Double slacking, yeah.
Right? So it's where you successfully get the slack out of the bar, but then before you choose to initiate the floor, you've changed the height or dynamic of something that allows it back out. So essentially you're undoing the work that you just worked hard to do.
Right, and it takes a lot of energy. Doing it correctly, pulling that slack out, you're wasting energy if you just kiss that away.
Especially if you're really wedging in and applying attention. Right, which is what we saw last night when we were working with Lamar. Tell him to wedge in slower to really build that bend out so he can feel where that position is.
Yeah, I was telling him he's a really strong puller, but what he was doing was just slamming his hips in under himself instead of taking that time to get the proper wedge where he can pull his chest into a better position and initiate the pull.
And that's true because, like, if you think about it like rotating clockwise, right? This is the way I like to think about it. Like, so if your arms are all the way straight here, connected to the bar here, right? And you're pulling and leveraging, this tension is going up, right? Bending the bar. While this wedge with your hips and your butt is going down. So you have one going down and one going up. And at the same time, they're applying two different levels of tension. One going up across the bar and bending, and one tucking under and going down. So you're getting like essentially a rubber band stretching, one going up, one going down, right?
Right.
The problem is some people, when this is applying up and they're going to wedge and tuck, they do this.
They lose pressure on their
They lose pressure and don't allow those two things to continue in different planes. Right, so then you drop that height, and then this is still set, but now this has changed.
Mm-hmm. And if that changes, what happens to your hands and all that? You lose that tension in your bar.
Yeah, and then when they go to pull aggressively, it's like hitting a fucking brick wall.
Right.
Because there's no slack out. Now the slack goes through, and it's like a jerk.
A really good cue for like newer lifters, if you're like learning deadlift technique, if you're getting slack out of the bar and you hear that click of the bar, like the sleeves of the bar hitting the weights and pulling that out, that little click against the weights, that's you pulling tension out of it, and you can get a better wedge under to initiate your pull.
If you hear it twice, it's bad.
If you hear it twice, if you hear a click, click, that's not what you want.
That means you took it out and let it back out and then took it out again.
Exactly.
Right, and again, that's what we're going to refer to as that double slack pull and hitting that little wall. And most of the time when you try to exert that much energy into that wall, it's going to pull you forward, right? And that's when you get, either in conventional or sumo, both, you get a very over-the-bar, forward-dominant start to a deadlift, which first thing that's going to go is your hips, right? It's going to pull your hips up, and you're going to stripper it out, and now there's only one thing to do. Lock out your legs, and the back's got to continue to take over for the rest of the lift.
There are some very strong deadlifters that can manage to do what you would, if you look at it for face value, you'd think that's a double slack pull, but it's not exactly what they're doing. I'll see guys like a lot of the bigger heavyweight guys. They'll rubber band themselves. They'll pull their slack out, and then they'll raise their hips back up again, but they don't lose tension in their upper body. They're still pulling tension out of the bar, and then they slam their hips back down again, almost like putting all the tension, like rebounding off their hamstrings,
right?
And then pulling themselves under to pop the bar off into a deadlift. Now that's usually a conventional puller, though. You wouldn't see that normally on a sumo.
And now we're not talking about there's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. As always, like me and Carl are no experts over here. We're just talking to you about our experiences, what we know both from lifters and coaching standpoints. But it's not a one size fits all. Like, I think one of the biggest things too I see is like either wedging before or after you take the slack out.
Yeah.
Because I mean that can change depending on the lifter's preference, honestly. Right? I've seen it done both ways. And also I wish I could do it. I can't do it. I really like the slack pull. Rachel does it really well. Right, that reach for the bar, real stiff and elongated,
you get tension out of one hand.
You can literally see it leave when she's pulling here because, again, we're creating that rotating friction and tension, right? This is going up already and bending while this comes down to pull, but she's not changing arm heights.
Yeah.
She's just keeping this pulled out, reaching. So now the tension's already here, and she's wedging in while keeping her arms long.
Something I'd like to get better at.
Right. She makes it look good.
It makes it look good.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a very proficient way to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I always tell my clients, too, a really good way to practice this is Boris deadlifts, which is a half and a whole. So you would go from the floor to your knee, and then a full rep would be 1 rep of a Boris deadlift. So half, whole. And it obviously not in crazy amounts of weight or anything, but it does reinforce that bottom position and knowing what the difference feels like between bending the slack out of the bar and initiating the bar from the floor. Because a lot of people make the big mistake of trying to do both at the same time, right? And that's where you're just simply muscling it up.
Right.
You're not taking the time to do that.
Yeah.
I also think a lot of that comes from spending too much time at the bottom of a deadlift bent over, right? Like,
oh, okay.
Like, you know what I mean? A lot of lifters overthink it. Like, dude, I'll see them, you bend down, you take the slack, you let the slack back out. Hike their hips a few times, kind of come in. Like, dude, you've been down there for 30 fucking seconds. Like, you have zero stretch reflex now. Like,
nothing.
Yeah, like, and you're probably cutting off your air too. So my big thing, what I always do for the bottom is I take what we would call a muscular brace at the top.
We almost talked about this last time, but you stopped because you wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, because I wanted to bring it up here. So that's what I do. I take a muscular brace up top, which is where I'm tightening everything, but I'm not taking my final brace, right? So muscular brace, I'll go down and take the bar. I'll wedge in and create that tension and bend and reinforce my air and then break it from the floor, right? I never really thought about it, but I guess do I wedge and then slack, or do I slack and then wedge?
You slack then wedge. You get tension out of the bar. It's like 2 different slack pulls, but it's not a double slack. You get tension out of the bar with your hands first, pulling your lats into position.
And then it's like once I reinforce my breath, I re-engage it with the rest of that slack so it bends even further. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. See, that's why you coach me.
I just have watched enough of your deadlifts.
Yeah. But one of the problems with that is not a problem with it, but I think from a coaching perspective, unless you're breaking that down slower for your athlete, sometimes for me it's very hard to see. Because a lot of times it looks like I'm just bending and going at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I think that comes from years of experience,
proficiency in the movement. Like, you just know where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, because that's the goal. You don't want them to look segmented, but technically they are.
Right.
They're just, the better you get at it, the closer they become.
Right. I think if we're going to talk about segmented movements, people talk about how the sumo deadlift compared to the conventional is more than one lift.
Yeah.
As in getting slack out of a deadlift in a sumo position is quite literally its own separate ordeal, and then you have the lift, after you have yourself set up. Whereas in the conventional deadlift, you're getting things set up, you go, and then boom, you're up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My
my favorite person to watch is you at lighter weight sumo deadlifts.
Oh, great.
Just the way you float it and cradle it into yourself to wedge your crotch into that position, and then you're literally standing straight up.
Right.
Which a lot of people can't understand.
If I could do that with heavier weights, I would do it so well.
It would be pretty. It would be pretty. Almost as pretty as your squats. I'm still jealous of your squats.
What I was talking to Lamar about yesterday when we're wedging into the sumo deadlift, I was explaining, you set your feet up so wherever you find comfortable, whether you have them in a more narrow or a wider stance. In this particular setup, you want to have your toes angled out a little bit further because you want to have your knees traveling with your toes. If your feet are facing forward, your knees are going to travel wherever your toes are going. And if they're not, you're going to be in a compromised position. It's a weak position, and you're likely going to hurt yourself. So if you have your toes angled out a little bit more, and you take your breath or your muscular brace, you bend down and you get your grip set, you pull tension out with your lats, you tuck your shoulders back. People say tucking your shoulders in your back pockets. You get that tension out, you have your good position, and then you're pulling your hips into the bar, and you're spreading your hips so that your knees are going out, your hips are coming under yourself, and you're taking up position between the bar and the floor.
Crotch to bar.
Right, crotch to bar. You're pushing yourself underneath into that position, loading the weight more and more onto your muscular structure so you can recruit more muscles. And then once you're in that position, your chest is as upright as it can be. You know, sometimes it looks a little bit lower compared to like limb length and femur
It also
length and all
depends
that.
on thoracic rounding and like how much a lifter is able to get away with that. Like
Yeah,
I'm rounded pretty thoracically, but like I also know my ability to like lock that down.
right.
Right?
So it's a lot of like, it's a lot of body mechanics. It's a lot of like genetic lottery, I guess. To, you know, some people just have longer arms to pull themselves in better positions. Some people have shorter femurs, but essentially what you're trying to do is pulling yourself underneath the bar so that all you have to do is squeeze your glutes, flex your quads, and then pull your shoulders back, and then you're locked out.
Yeah. Versus, would you say that how different that feeling is versus a conventional? Because conventional, I feel like you're more, once you're in that primed, wedged, slacked out position at the bottom, it's more of a leg press.
It's very quad dominant. Yeah. So
It's very quad dominant, pushing through the floor.
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't realize that. Like, it's a push. You're pushing away from the floor. And I think until you realize that and utilize more leg drive for that, a lot of people do try to pick it up with your back, and then you're already in a shit position because it's going to raise your hips.
right, and then you hurt yourself.
Yeah, we're not trying to stiff leg whatever
No.
you're trying to PR.
I just listened to a table talk that had Justin Zottel on it, and he was talking a lot about midfoot drive on the deadlift.
Shout out Zotto and his wife. They are very kind and nice people. And
I
both
actually-
said very nice things to me.
I reached out to him after that podcast episode. I listened to it. I was like, dude, this is like one of the best ones I've heard. Like, I liked what he was talking about. It all seemed like it clicked with me. And so during that deadlift session we just had, I was thinking a lot about what he was talking about with midfoot drive. And I mean, I thought it helped me. I take my max effort deadlift sessions a little bit like less. Like I pull off one before I can actually like get to my top set because I want to keep myself healthy. If it's a squat day, I'll go balls to the wall. But
Which is weird because like during
Deadlift-
peaks and stuff, you'll be like, Travis, I thought this was a max effort day.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Carl, I'm trying to stay healthy. And he's like, but it's max effort. So
Yeah.
it's weird hearing you say that. I mean, it's almost like you can't even follow what you tell me, Carl.
I don't practice what I preach. No, like what he was explaining in the squat too, but in the deadlift particularly, I'm talking about like driving off of midfoot and very quad dominant. Like it's different than getting in position for the sumo, only because you're in a more rounded position,
Yeah.
and you have to be a lot stronger. Or I shouldn't say stronger because they both require the strength, but faster. I think off the floor.
Yeah, and I think you have to be aware of like when you're in that kind of quote unquote rounded position, you have to know where you're locking torso positions down. Because the more you drive away from the floor in that more bent position, the more you want to fold. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So unless you're aware of where you're locking things down, it can go to shit real quick.
Right. As soon as you started throwing in more upper back stuff from me, I got a lot more proficient getting off the floor and knowing where I was in that lower deadlift position.
Yeah. Movement awareness, and this isn't just true for deadlift, this is true for all movements, like slowing things down and knowing where you're at in the movement and being able to like critically think during a lift, even though it is a very short time span, is a very crucial thing to becoming a really good power lifter.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of us always have, just like when we talked about bench, like you have those natural instincts to heavy weights. So, oh fuck, just push, right? Like, and that's easy to do and a natural thing to do for any athlete. But like critical thinkers are really where it's taking that next level. That's your level up right there.
The sooner you get proficient in knowing where you are in the movement, the sooner you can refine that movement.
Well, then it becomes second nature
Right,
too.
right,
Like
exactly.
once you drill those positions and cues, and you can naturally like go through them without really a lot of hesitation, then they become a lot more fluid.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk. One of my favorite things to talk about, and I know you've heard me talk about this 1,000 times, probably yelled it at you. Not probably, I know I yelled it at you. Well, it's something I refer to the gas pedal.
Uh-huh.
So gas pedal, especially with a conventional deadlift, something I teach my conventional deadlifters, is where you're hitting about like high shin to mid knee and learning how to activate that like second boost of momentum, right? Because as a conventional puller, that's like your number one spot where you can get the most rounded and your hips are already probably shot up all the way if that's one of your issues, right? Is that mid knee? If you're stuck at mid knee and your ass is all the way up,
you're in for a wild time.
dude, that's stiff legging for another like 5-6 inches. Like you're gonna struggle.
You better have a strong lower back.
Yeah, you are fucked. Right? So one of the big things I recommend doing is thinking about like gas pedals. So we're at like high mid shin to mid knee and throwing our hips through, right? Give it that old Humpty Dumpty, right? Because a lot of people, when they hit there, they'll lean back instead of actually applying like snapping through or powering through with their hips. And they'll lean back, which is allowing the bar to creep up your quads. So number one, it's a weak position, and you're probably going to get called for ramping. And if you do successfully lock it out, because of the inflection of where you've leaned back, it's most likely going to also unlock your knees. And then you'll also get called.
Right. So talk about ramping real quick in case somebody doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, ramping. So the difference between the two things we get called the most on. Let's just talk about all three real quick before we jump back there. Just remind me to get back to gas pedal.
Yeah.
So biggest three things people are going to get called for on the platform is the one we're talking about right now, which is ramping, which is where you're allowing the bar to almost come to a rest on your quads, and you're kind of like rolling it / creeping it up your legs, right? So that's ramping. Why am I having a brain fart right now, dude?
Just imagine you're going over rules in like front of 30
know.
lifters.
I'm such a bad ref, dude. See, look, I go one meet without being meet director, and here we are. Just rock bottom, dude.
I know, dude.
Doesn't get worse. Doesn't get worse for me.
Well,
hitching is our other one. I'm like, dude, how long have I been doing this? Like 8 years?
I was going to walk you into it.
You've been running meets for 8 years and you can't remember this right now? Hitching is where you're going to see the one you normally would see, and this is also a reference to like what a strongman deadlift, and that kind of separates between the two categories, is where you're going to see him kind of like jerking motion and allowed to like pull it up and kind of like just jerk it and move it up and down in any kind of manner in order to lock it out, right? So they would get disqualified for that because it's once it begins in the up motion plane, it must remain in that plane of motion. It cannot go down. For downward motion, you'll get called for a red. And the third one we're going to talk about during slack is bar leaving the floor.
Yeah.
Right? So you have a lot of people get super hyped up, you know, and like
yanking on the bar.
There's multiple different rule books interpretations of this, but I think they've changed it so all the plates have to leave the floor now.
They did that. I think they changed that only because when deadlifts were getting heavy enough and they switched bars mainly to the kabuki where it had more whip, people would pull slack out of it and they'd get so much bend out of that bar
it would take
if you have 5 or 6 or 7 plates on there, it'd pull the first 2 off.
Yeah. So technically the bar would be leaving the floor and then they would set it back down to go initiate the slack. Technically they would rule that as a bona fide attempt and the bar already leaving the floor, so it would be a red light before literally the lift even started.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the things I caution lifters about is if you're one of that guy that gets super duper hyped up and yanky danky on the bar when you walk up, if those plates leave the floor and it does not continue in an upward motion, even if you're jerking to psych yourself out, or you slack it once, tuck your hips, and then slack again, if it breaks the floor, it is a bona fide attempt. And if it does not continue in an upward fashion, it's a no-go.
Yeah.
Those are probably the 3 biggest things.
Right. I would say so.
If we wanted to add a bonus fourth, it's not controlling bar to floor.
Yeah,
meaning
John Flag.
Meaning you lock it out and you either drop it, throw it, or exert excessive force to the bar. Right. So a lot of the lifters will lock it out, get excited, and then quote unquote punch it to the floor. Right. They're kind of throwing it down in like a celebration. Right. If referees see your elbows bend, meaning you're exerting additional force to the floor,
they're going to call you.
They're going to call you.
Unfortunately.
So it's got to be returned to the floor in a mostly controlled manner. Obviously, if it's heavy, you can set it down fast, but your hands must also remain in contact with the bar until it's all the way.
You don't got to pull a Mike Kudleski and lower it.
Yeah, he slow-mo's it down. Yeah.
So back to gas pedal. We were talking about that.
Gas pedal, right? So again, we were talking about gas pedal because, if you don't initiate that snap through or push power through with your hips, you get that lean back and that can lead to the ram. That's how we got there.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm telling you, once it's at that knee level, you really want to treat like your arms hanging here, right? Treat this whole thing like a square. It's a window, right? And I want you to punch your hips and abdominals through that window. Right? And now, I used to not say abdominals, right? I used to say just punch your hips. The reason I started incorporating abdominals is because that's telling the lifter to take all of this forward, right? Versus some people would try to throw their hips, but when they do that, their back would go back.
Yeah.
Right? So you were punching hips, but you were also leaning it back at the same time, right? So I kind of had to find like a different fix for that. But it's a combination of snapping and punching your hips through at that moment and driving through the floor to give you that extra boost of momentum. I think one of my number one things to help with this has definitely been training against bands. Because at that position, when you have a banded deadlift, that's where the most amount of band tension is being applied.
Oh, yeah.
Like right at the knee.
Exactly.
So like if you learn to snap through that and generate that momentum to break through that band tension to get to the top of your deadlift, it'll definitely improve your lockouts.
Well, if you think positional wise, like at the bottom, you're not in a advantageous position, but once you get further up and you're recruiting more of your quads and less your hamstrings, you're in a better position muscularity wise to push through that rest of the lift. Like the bands are going to increase that resistance, so it emphasizes that sticking point.
I also like to talk to lifters about like a knife analogy, and this is like me and Rob use this on squat and on deadlift too. But I always treat it like a pocket knife, right? So the way I describe this to lifters is, and if you use this for your lifters, good for you. Just coin your boy. If you like, oh, you don't know about the Rogers pocket knife? Like that's me. PB's pocket knife, bro. It's me. PB's pocket knife. Okay? So if you have a pocket knife, right? So you have. I wish I had a pocket. I should have put a pocket knife out here so I could.
Nope.
Yeah, I thought you really had one on you. I was like,
I keep it only for work. I put it on my table before I came here.
So middle of the knife, you have your hinge, right? That's your hips, obviously, in this scenario, right? So with your pocket knife, if it's like a Swiss Army, right? We're opening the blade, which is your hips. It's from your hinge up, so your torso, and the handle, which is going to be your hips, your hips hinge down, right? We want to open those and lock that blade at the same time, right? Both revolving around that hinge axis, right? Meaning we don't want to flip blade. We don't want to, right? Yeah. Because that means the handle stays in one place and the torso did all the work, right? So essentially that's your back going like, and trying to lock it out, right? So we want both of those to open at the same time and kind of get as close to both of them utilizing and having the work of the other one as we can be versus one and then the other. Right? Like most things in powerlifting, you want things working in unison versus one and then the other.
Yeah.
Usually harder if you do one and then the other.
Definitely harder if you do one than the other.
Yeah. So whenever you think about like, hey, my hips are all the way up and now my back has to do the work, it's because you're opening up that pocket knife the wrong way, right? They're both not in sync with each other. When you get to that top lockout, you want those two things to lock out as close to the same timing as possible. That always really helps me.
Yeah, and I think I've thought about it a lot too in my deadlift training, because that was a big issue. We said before we started talking about this, really, that's something that you tried to instill like a lot of the gas pedal into me, and then also pushing my hips through at the top. Like, it all just comes around, They all tie together.
They do eventually. But I also think like the top of your lockout, your deadlift, and like a lot of people don't understand like squaring of shoulders, right? So when you have your knees, your hips, and your shoulders all in alignment, right? That qualifies as a fully locked out deadlift, right? And I think one of the problems I've really noticed is, especially with like newer lifters, is if you have a hook lifter, right? A hook grip lifter. Oh shit, we didn't go over grips either.
Oh, we can touch on that afterwards.
Yeah. A hook grip lifter is obviously you're already going to have a more forward dominant shoulder position, right? Because there's not one rotated back where your palm's facing up to give you this. It's more both are like this.
Out in front of you, just
right?
about.
Yeah. Both out in front of you. So you're liable to end a lot of deadlifts, especially heavier attempts. I've seen a lot where the knees and the hips are both locked in alignment, but the shoulders are drug out forward.
Dangling forward, yeah.
Yeah, and I would call that all day.
Right, exactly. Anybody would.
Yeah, there's that. Never mind. I was about to talk shit. I shouldn't talk shit on the podcast.
So the grips. You have your over-under.
Right, so you're sorry.
I'm going to distract you. I'm going to pull you off
I was
that topic.
just thinking, I was like, man, that guy's a fucker. You know who I'm talking about, too. I'm like, that bitch soft as baby shit. Every deadlift I ever seen. Motherfucker ain't locked a deadlift in his life. But you have your over-under, so you have your, your mixed grip. And a lot of people, I would say, when you pull mixed, is your dominant hand the one that's under? Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm right-handed. I got to think. Hold on.
Pretend there's a bar.
Pretend there's a bar. My dominant hand is under, yes.
Okay, so my dominant hand, I'm right-handed. My dominant hand is under. Have you ever tried a switch hitter?
You've had me switched a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was because I was pinwheeling.
Oh, yeah.
But I fixed that issue.
Yeah. So one of the big things at the top, when I had grip issues and I kept tearing that one hand, I learned how to do it like a switch hitter, like baseball.
Yeah.
And I've done meets in total reverse grip of what I normally mix grip.
Should that really affect your deadlift?
I mean,
it's the same hands that you use for everything else,
It is. I just think like the mental aspect of it is different.
You're not set up the same way.
Yeah, because it is like it's like you're playing a trick on yourself.
I guess in a mixed grip, it does pull like onto one of your lats harder. So I guess like if you go to, or actually you talk about like bicep tears, it's pulling a lot on that bicep tendon right there when you have your underhand. So if you go to switch that and that tendon's not as trained, you're likely to snap a tendon if you have to switch like that.
Also, speaking of that, as you get, and I had an issue with this, okay? And I talked to, lo and behold, John Flagg a lot about this because he had the same issue. As me and him got bigger, I'm trying to say like I'm as big as John. Yeah, bullshit. John, you're way bigger and stronger than me. John, we talked a lot about, John's not my coach, but is a great coach. So we usually talk coaching shit and talk to each other about different ideas. But one of the issues I was having as I got bigger as a bencher was my shoulders were starting to get more and more developed, and same with my lats. And so I was having a hard time getting external rotation from my dominant underhand. So it was A, starting to pinwheel, and B, not allowing me to grip the bar as tight.
Oh, really?
Because what was happening was I couldn't rotate my underhand out all the way. So when I would take the grip, the first two fingers would go. And then I basically was trying to deadlift like this with one hand turning back.
Yeah.
Right? So we had tried things like warming up on an underhand lat pull down to like get my external rotation. Of course, you see me, I still do doorway stretches and stuff like that. But one of the things that really ended up helping me was taking a slightly, you've seen me do this, take a slightly wider grip on that dominant side.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
I do.
And then all of a sudden my deadlift like evened back out. Like I stopped pinwheeling. Yeah. But that definitely takes a lot of practice because now you're setting yourself up uneven slightly on purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? But taking that wider grip, I'm not talking about like snatch grip.
You're not moving out 6 inches per side.
Right. But as you get more immobile.
Once you have more of you.
Yeah, once there's more of you, like shit don't work the same.
Yeah, I think me, you, Matt, I don't know. Who else was well, it was a bunch of us, and we were pulling over in the far room. This is probably about a year and a half ago. I was putting some weight on. I was, climbing the weight classes, when I first started creeping in the 220s, and I was getting in the way of myself in my deadlift. And you all told me to just, move your hands out more.
I do remember this.
You're more person now. Put your hands out further so you're not getting in the way of yourself. And it clicked. Yeah. That was all I needed at the time.
Yeah. Watch, somebody's going to listen to this episode and be like, bro, this worked. I was like, yeah, I know. I've had that issue. It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's like a compliment to yourself. You're like, I'm so big. I have to make more room for me.
These quads, dude. These quads got too big. I got to move them out.
Yeah. So I had to move mine out. But I mean, there's been some panic preps for me during deadlifts when I did the fucking frog stance willy-nilly meet, and I did that one meet.
Yeah.
Dude, that was such a terrible prep.
I think
still had a great total that meet too.
one of the scariest ones, I think, was the first one I had you with me for when I like had like a back tweak like 3 weeks out, and we pulled off everything. Like I pulled one time before we went into the meet. And
Almost like me for the last prep.
yeah, and I still pulled like a 40-pound PR going into that.
Dude, see, so maybe there is a lot of you.
Yeah,
Me and you,
dude. Yeah,
maybe
dude.
you just need to do what I do. I squat twice and deadlift twice before a meet. I'm like, all right, let's go get
Dude,
a PR.
I will squat. I'll squat more, but I will deadlift like as little as I have to. Yeah.
Well, hey, I keep telling you about that podcast episode I listened to with Tate where he's hated deadlifting.
Yeah.
So he just squat more. He deadlift like once a month.
Exactly.
And
That's
it
what I
works
gotta.
out.
That's what I gotta
Yeah.
get on.
Just squat more. just do real quad dominant stuff so that way
Okay.
it translates to the conventional off the floor.
Give me some like low box and narrow
Yeah,
stance. Oh god.
There you go. But I mean, like even with hook grip, have you tried hook grip before?
Mm-mm.
I went through a
Nope.
series of hook grips once I was scared for one of my biceps. I can do hook until like 500, and then one of my hands won't stay locked. I think it's my left hand.
Have you tried the wrist wrap trick?
What's that?
Where you just like squeeze a fist and then get somebody to wrap your wrist super fucking tight, like tighter than you normally would. So when you open your hand, it's like that's like all you got.
Well, yeah, I used to do that at meets
Okay.
conventionally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, even mixed grip.
Mixed grip. That's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
no, me and shout out a B. Me and a B used to do that shit to people all the time.
Okay.
We'd be
You
like,
know about it.
they're like, my grip. And dude, I've been to multiple meets where we were like B Hoagie. We'd be like, bro, come here.
Yeah.
Hold your hand still.
That
I'd be like,
man
give me
dropped
that
so
shit.
many fucking
I
deadlifts.
know, I love him to death. I'm like, let me wrap the shit out of that thing.
I think every meet that I've seen him compete at, I've seen him drop one deadlift.
I think there was one
Sorry.
random meet here. I was in the back room just like doing a meet director check and asking if anyone needed anything
Yeah.
or they were all good. Some guy was like having trouble. I said, bro, who's your coach? And he's like, oh, this guy. I said, do you have stretch of your wrist wraps? He's like, yeah. I was like, make a fist and cast that bitch as tight as you can,
Yeah, dude.
like 10 seconds before you go out. And he got the deadlift, and that was the only one he got that day. And he was like,
Wow.
He was like, bro, you saved me from bombing out.
That's
I
a
was
crazy
like,
story.
You got it, bro.
I love those stories. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that powerlifting stuff where like
Yeah.
you're down two. and
Shout
just,
out
like,
to all the meet directors saying subtle things to people in the warm-up room that make their day successful. I'm about that life. That's the good
crazy.
shit.
I love that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think especially for hook grip pullers, you do see a lot more soft shoulders, and I don't know, maybe I'm being prejudiced here, but I think with more mixed grip pullers, I see a lot more leaning back. We're talking about specific grips.
Dude, I see leaning back on both sides. I don't know if I can see more on one side.
I
or the
see
other.
more leaning back on sumo pullers. You always get that crazy like IPF like
yeah.
like dude, young IPF sumo pullers have like fucking ruined that shit so hard.
Their whole body's on like if you're looking at like the angle, it's like
it's like they're about to like
they're on
it's
like 140 degree
Yeah,
angle.
it's
and
like-
they're going back this way.
it's like halfway between Michael Jackson and the Matrix. So they're just like already fucking back. And I'm like,
Fucking
what is
Neo
that?
up there.
I'm like, dude, if you move your knee one solid thing, you're either A, gonna fall or it's gonna red light anyway.
Yeah, the weight's so far out in front of them, they counterbalance. by
Yeah,
throwing.
it's the wildest shit. It looks so bad.
They make it work.
Yeah, I know, man. I know.
At the end of the day, it just matters if you can get it up.
I mean, deadlifts. I'd say deadlift's the easiest lift. I mean, it's the one you could definitely still make look the shittiest, but you can still get it.
I think it's the safest out of all of them. 'Cause
What?
If something goes wrong, you just drop it.
I mean, in that aspect, yeah. Actually, those words have come out of my own mouth.
Yeah, dude.
I've been like,
That's why you train your heavy deadlifts. If you're like, fuck, I got to do this by myself.
we'll move
okay.
it to Monday. We're
Yeah.
like, well, no one's at the gym Monday. Well, I'm just gonna fucking drop it and, and limp
Exactly.
away. Get close to a wall on a rack so I can just, if I start passing out, just fucking slide into
Throw your
slide
jacket
into
over.
safety. Yeah. I mean, that's how it is. Have you ever what injuries have you had while deadlifting?
Besides my discs, nothing.
Just your back.
Yeah,
But now, for real though, like this is a real question though. Was your back, your disc, was that something that happened earlier and then you made it worse by deadlifting, or
No.
did it spawn from deadlifting?
No, it spawned from deadlifting, and I know the day and what I was doing.
No shit.
Yeah.
Do tell.
So it was when the platform was right here in front of us.
Oh damn it! I was gonna hope you say this is at Pure.
Yeah, sorry, this was
Is
here.
that here? Fuck.
It was here, and this is before had anything to do with my training. This was just me being dumb and young.
This is you swinging your dick around
yeah,
a circle.
yeah. I was doing like something way out of my league. Like paused.
I've never seen you do that.
Paused sets of 5. Yeah, right. Paused sets of 5, and I had like 4 1/4 on there, and I was not a strong puller like at all. And I was like, oh yeah, this will be fine. And I'm like way out of position. It looked like shit. I still have the video probably. And I know when it felt like, I was like, oh, that's bad. I'm going to put this down and stop for the day. And then I continued training for like a year after that. Just like felt terrible. And yeah, so that was that. Until one day I was like, you know what, this I can't handle this anymore. I'm going to your doc's in.
Yeah. I think I've had 2 really, well, I mean, I've had multiple hamstrings.
Yeah.
But they've already always been like grade 1, grade 2.
Right.
Same with butt cheeks. I've torn cheeks.
Dude, real quick, this was at Pure. I don't know what it is, but I remember this happening when I was like really young lifting, and I was squatting, and I had like a zipper sensation on my quad. Do you know what that is?
Was it like in front or was it on the side? If your side, it might be your IT band.
It was on the side.
Probably IT.
Oh, okay.
Did you feel like you're just going to collapse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's IT, bro.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, when that bitch, something happens to that bitch, you're just like, it's like somebody pulled the power button out. You're just like, boo.
That was scary.
Yeah.
Okay,
whatever. Yeah. Do you know what this is? Diagnose me on the spot from something that happened 10 years ago.
Dr. Rogers.
That you weren't here. Give him set. But I don't know. I think I've had mostly like grade 1 and 2 hamstrings and butt cheeks. I hate butt cheeks. Butt cheeks are scary, dude. Because it's like such a large muscle, you never really think about it. Like you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty sturdy back there.
Yeah.
But then you'll get like a zinger, and you're like, oh shit. Real talk. Dude, that one Rob was standing behind me when I was in the suit like a year ago, and it
made you
tore.
jump like
yeah,
afterwards?
I like jumped, and he like literally had to like arm around me, like carry me off the platform.
Yeah, I remember that.
Dude, and that was like only like a grade 1 going into grade 2, but like, dude, that scared the fuck out of me. It did.
Yeah, sneaks up on you.
Dude, yeah, that was scary. I've never really had anything with my back. I've had something with my hip before when I was a lot younger competing. And that was when I was still pulling sumo. Shout out to sumo for irresponsible decisions. There's a really good way to, get better at sumo. You just don't do it.
Yeah,
just do conventional. You could just be conventional.
We just call that training opposite stance.
Yeah. And then you just stay that way.
Yeah, you just forget about it when you eat
the
meat.
You just forget to switch back. Are we sumo haters? I'm not a sumo hater. No.
I'm
not a sumo hater. I just like to.
I hate that it's my stronger stance and I can't continue with it. Like I can't hold up to training with it.
Well, I mean,
that's like my own problem though.
If you stop trying to be a multiply ballet dancer with your squats and plie everything, maybe we could get some work done. I mean, your toes aren't touching the outsides of the mono, so it doesn't really count.
I'm not tall enough to do that anymore.
Yeah, I don't think you are either.
Even if no, there's no way.
No.
That negative shin angle, I'd be like over here.
That's true. But yeah, I haven't really had any bad ones like that like took me out. Like not like squat and bench, but like except for the lat tear. The lat tear was gnarly. I remember the day that happened. We were in the fire room, and me and Tim Brown were deadlifting together, and I was shirtless, and he was on my left, and it happened on my left side, and it was on a deficit deadlift. And he said shirtless on me. He watched it like split and like disconnect, and he said it freaked him out.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy looking to see.
I remember I just dropped it and walked over and just put my arms around him and hugged him, and I said, I know it's really bad. Jess is going to be mad. And he goes, dude, I watched it. Come unattached. I was like, yeah, man, this is gnarly.
Every time you get hurt, your first thought is like, dude, my wife's going to be pissed.
Dude, my wife's going to fucking kill me. It is true.
You put her through too much.
I know, dude. Shout out to my wife for putting up with my crazy bullshit. And yeah, there's a reason she's scared when I go on the platform. There's a reason she's scared when I go to the gym.
Yeah.
I put her through way too much shit, gym related. Let's talk about the difference between raw deadlifts and suited deadlifts.
Okay. Raw deadlifts are not as fun.
And podcast is over. Pack it up. You heard it from the man. I don't know, dude. My peak fun.
Yeah.
Peak fun is back when I was crazy raw before I got hurt.
Yeah.
And I was doing the deadlift gauntlets.
Yeah.
That was actually what got me on Trigger warning. That was the
really?
first time I got interviewed by Anthony.
Shout out Anthony.
Shout out Anthony and Trigger warning. Yeah, that was before he owned Tales from the Warm-Up Room.
That's probably the podcast I heard you talk about how you're scared of monoliths.
Probably.
Yeah.
And look at me now.
Look at you now.
I own 3 of them. But like I would do it was a couple different variances, but what caught his attention was because back then on Trigger Warning they didn't really interview a lot of raw lifters.
Yeah.
And he told me that he's like, hey man, like I had to get up with you, like it's crazy strong tatted up dude, but like we don't really do a lot of raw lifters.
Right.
But I would do like 3 sets of 2, warming up to like the last double of those being at like maybe like an 8. And then I would go a little bit heavier than that, usually around like deadlift opener level at a meet.
Like an 8.75.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah. And I would do a deficit, wait a few minutes, a pause, wait a few minutes, and then either light bands, like really light bands, like micros, or beltless.
I have seen you do the beltless a lot. And we're talking like 7+ beltless.
Yeah. We're talking about, and I would take them all at the same weight. So it would be like the first week I would do like 705 for a deficit, a pause, and then a beltless. And they were all one single a piece. Right? And when I would do that with opener weights, I was like, this is a good opener. Because I can fucking do it under literally 3 different times under 3 different circumstances.
If you can do a beltless, then you can open with it.
Well, I remember Anthony was like, dude, I saw you doing this with up to like 730 and was like, what in the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, dude. It was wild to see.
And I would be in just like elite FTS like man leggings with no belt, and he'd be like, "What the fuck?"
And we're talking about like a 3-inch deficit, like the bars.
The bar's almost touching my toes.
Yeah.
Because I remember that picture of Rob and Richie next to me, and standing on top of the deficit. I'm still not as tall as them, but Rob would be like, "Is this what you dream of?
Yeah.
Is this what it's like for you to be tall?" I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Piece of shit.
I was like, oh yeah, why don't you pull this? I'm not pulling this. But yeah, man, the gauntlet days were wild. And I still did those once I got into a suit, man. I would love to go do that. You can do it in a suit. You can't go in like a crazy like comp fit tight suit because I don't think you can get down to the bar for the deficit.
Dude, I could.
You're a fucking liar.
Dude, I could. My suit, I don't run my suit tight.
All right, I guess we're changing week 3 then, huh?
No.
I guess we're running
That
a gauntlet.
not what I
week 3,
wanted. That's
week
not
3
what-
gauntlet. No, man, I'm ready to see this. I'm ready for the podcast of that Tuesday after that Sunday and be like, hey, Carl, so talk about the gauntlet and how it went. Yeah. So gauntlets are wild. Gauntlets are fun. They will make you a strong deadlifter, though. And in no way, shape, and form am I promoting this or saying it's a safe or good idea. I'm just saying if you do them, they will make you a good deadlifter. You'll be a good deadlifter.
Yeah, we will say you're a good deadlifter. That's
You're a good deadlifter to me. In my opinion, matters.
In my heart, that was cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
You're like, damn, that was fucking sick. What else do we really like for deadlifts, Carl? Do you prefer bands or chains for ME deadlift?
Chains.
Why?
Because bands rip the shit out of my hands.
Because they're not as hard on me as bands.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this is mainly due to our training style, but and the AR that we use. So if we're doing bands for a max effort movement,
Okay.
I know we are going straight into some DE pulls with more band. We're gonna put the blues on top of that. Chains, we're just gonna keep the same chains.
We're just gonna lower the weight and do those chains.
So the chains.
Okay. See, you look forward to that more. You're like, all right, this isn't gonna be as bad.
Yeah. Those bands tear me
And
up.
now this Sunday, I did have fun doing the doubles with the perps.
I really enjoyed it. I think
was
I had
fun.
a great time.
You're welcome. I
Thank
thought
you.
you'd have fun with
Thank
that.
you.
And I allowed us to go in full kit with straps up.
The first time we had straps up since
For like the meet
2
peak?
months.
Yeah,
2
it's been a
months-ish.
while.
Yeah.
Dude, it was wild to me when I asked you. I was like, when we do that meet, it was like 6 months ago. You're like, dude, it was November, bro.
Yeah, dude.
It was like not even that long ago. Like what, a month and a half?
Well, I had the same thing happen maybe like 2 weeks prior. I was talking to somebody.
It's like, we haven't competed in forever, Carl.
I know,
Like,
I
dude,
know.
we competed like 6 weeks ago. Not even.
It's been like not that long at all.
Yeah,
I'm
because
just-
this is the 6th episode of the podcast. And our first episode back was back from the meet.
This is our 7th.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, it is 7th.
Yeah,
but our first one back.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, so it literally hadn't even been 2 months ago.
Yeah. I had the same thing happen. I was talking to somebody, and I was with Rachel, and they're like, when did you compete last? And I was like, what was it, like 3 months ago? 4 months ago? She's like, it was November. It was not that long ago.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Yeah, we're dumb, dude. That's what happens when you lift too much weight, man. Things start to go.
Subtle flex.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm just
too strong.
I'm just so strong. I'm turning into the very people I hate, strong and stupid.
Yeah.
Strong and stupid. Yeah, man, I can't do it. I would say my favorite is probably... I do enjoy bands just because I think at where I'm weakest in the deadlift, they challenge me the most.
You know what I like? I'm going to change my answer real quick. I like reverse band deadlifts. That's what I like.
Because you can swing your dick out real quick.
Yeah.
You let it hang for a minute. You're
Exactly.
like, bro, you see this deadlift? These bands, not even doing that much.
See all 6 of these plates? You got to count them on 2 hands.
Hey, I will say in your defense, though, the bands I choose to do our reverses with aren't that helpful.
No, we got like mini bands.
And I've heard people tell me when they've deadlifted with us for a reverse band, they're like, dude, these aren't doing shit. I was like, it's just enough because when we do them in a peak, I want to know I can hit that weight raw when I'm rested up.
Right.
I don't want to put something on there that's really going to fudge and astronomically like overshoot what, I did this with the reverse bands. And it's like the reverse bands did a shitload of work at the bottom.
So the way I gauge it is like we only pull our thirds with the reverse. We don't do seconds. We do openers, seconds, like normal full kit, and we pull our thirds with the reverse band. The way when I go into it, if my third with the band doesn't move like my second did without, I know I'm in trouble. But if it moves the same way, then I'm okay. Okay,
so here's mine. If whatever I do, like I top out on a reverse band, like because you've seen me do like 750. Right. So like I know at a meet I'm usually good for like 20 pounds less than that.
Okay.
With no weight. So if I pulled a 750 at the end of a prep, I'm definitely probably pulling around like 730, 735 at the meet.
Interesting.
Right? If I take it.
Do you take it?
I don't.
You normally don't.
I'm telling you what I know I'm capable of.
We have plans for you to take something big.
You do, and I'm like, Carl, you like this total? Me too. I'm just going to walk away, bro. This is fine. All right. Well, we are officially out of time.
Yeah, I think that's it. We covered all of it.
Sweet. That is the end of our SBD collection, though.
Yeah.
We didn't do them in the correct order.
No, we did it in the order that we chose. It's our podcast.
What did we do? BSD? Bench squat deadlift? Yeah, that's fine. We'll have to go back on our podcast and see if it lines up with our SBD Fuck, Marry, Kill. Did we do them in the order that we like the least?
I don't know. I gotta look back.
Or you can look for us and tag us on next episode's podcast. No, man. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is our 20th episode. Never thought we'd be this far into it, but I've been enjoying every minute of it. And you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a shit if it's an hour and 2 minutes. Before the end of the podcast is over, I want to be a giant pussy real quick. And because we are, 2 days before the end of the year? 2 days?
Well, today's the 30th.
Yeah. So one more day. Shout out to this man here for making my year of 2025. Is it 2025?
Yes, it is 2025.
All right, dude, I can't do it. You know I'm not a numbers guy.
You know what year it is.
For making my year in powerlifting one that was very memorable and made me want to continue to do powerlifting and made me want to continue to have a gym and be here and do shit with you. I can honestly say, like, not only from a podcast standpoint, but as a training partner standpoint, like if I did not have you here, I would be less interested in continuing to compete and train as hard as we do. So I appreciate you for keeping that alive for me.
Dude, you're gonna make me cry, man.
I thought about it a lot today. I did. I really did think about it a lot. I was like, dude, if I didn't have you for like the podcast and this, like, my interest in competing and powerlifting would be greatly diminished. Like, I would still want to coach and write a lot of stuff and do stuff like that, but like me staying in it greatly diminished. So thank you for that. For still making me feel like I got a few more in me.
Well, thank you, man, because that means a lot. And honestly, this year wouldn't have been as cool. Yeah, well, the totals are
I'd say our year's been pretty fucking cool.
The totals are cool, but I think the training, this has been like the most fun I've had training ever. So,
And I think the podcast was awesome for both of us.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it was good.
it's a fun outlet.
Yeah,
So.
it was good.
Thank you guys for watching, of course.
After getting sappy right in the last second, with peace and grumpy paws, we're out. Later.
Oh.